Shalom, brothers and sisters. There will be wars and rumors of wars. Nation against nation, country against country. We're seeing that now more than ever before. And let's just look at that. The entire world is being gripped by a really intense case of war fever. The warmongers are making billions. Weapons manufacturers can't keep up. They can't even get to the demand. They're all just coining it, not realizing that money is going to disappear very, very shortly, and the Antichrist will have control of it. But hey, they're having a fantastic time pushing death and destruction and chaos everywhere, and business is booming. So the Economic Community of West African States is warning it could invade the nation of Niger if the coup leaders do not reinstate President Mohamed Bazoum. Of course, they're not going to back down, so that's coming. Won't be a big one, but it's there. More than 3,000 United States military personnel arrived in the Red Sea aboard 2 warships, part of a beefed up response from Washington after the tanker seizures by Iran. That was Monday. Okay. Their arrival followed a US announcement last month it would deploy a destroyer, F-35 and F-16 warplanes along with amphibious readiness groups. After weeks of relative quiet, the Syrian capital of Damascus has been hammered again by the Israelis all the time, weekly basis, sometimes bi-weekly. On August 3 to 5, the armed forces of Ukraine lost 2,000 additional men, bringing their casualties to over 45,000 since the beginning of the counter-offensive, 36,000 of which trained at NATO bases, and the AFU has approximately 200,000 combat soldiers. Writing on Russian Sputnik News, US Major Scott Ritter said the Ukrainian attack on heavily defended Russian lines with inexperienced troops and no air support was a massacre, with Ukrainians suffering losses of 10-1 compared to the Russians, and they call it a highway to hell. On the other side of the world, Chinese continue to prepare for the invasion of Taiwan and keep instigating threats. Once the Chinese do invade, the US and China is going to be at war instantly, so there'll be bigger repercussions. Chinese military expressed their intentions to literally lay down their lives if that is what it takes to take Taiwan. They've even released a documentary in China, I think it's an 8-part series, about their preparations and interviewing the soldiers and the pilots, and this is some of the stuff they've said. If war broke out and the conditions were too difficult to safely remove naval mines in actual combat, we will use our own bodies to clear a pathway for our landing forces. Zhao Feng, a frogman with the PLA Navy's minesweeper unit. You want to die? This is like Japanese kamikaze stuff. This is where their minds are at. That's how programmed and ready they are to die for the cause. Li Peng, a pilot from Wang Hai Squadron under the PLA Air Force, echoed the statement, saying his fighter jet would be the last missile rushing to the enemy if in a real battle I had used up all my ammunition. Do you know how long it takes to train a fighter pilot? All that training, all that everything to become a fighter pilot, and you're going to kamikaze once you run out of ammunition. That is how dedicated and intensely brainwashed these people are to achieve that goal that their leaders have put there for them. So I don't think it's not going to happen. That's the level of where the world's at right now. 11 military vessels from China and Russia found operating near the Aleutian Islands in Alaska. North Korea's foreign ministry this week vowed that the country would annihilate the United States and the US would be terminated this century. Should the US choose to offend our republic, we will annihilate them. Now, the interesting use of words here is offend, because the Bible also tells us that in the end days, many will be offended. So, using just that out of the Bible, they are going to be offended, so they're going to attack. 1 + 1 is 2. It's coming. It's in the Word of God. They will be offended. If they offend the Republic, they will, because you're getting ready to be offended anyway. Most of us assume assume that our leaders know exactly what they're doing and have anything under control. Hilarious. Unfortunately, the opposite is exactly true. We're steamrolling towards a worldwide conflict, and not just a normal conflict of shooting or anything. While they're screaming peace and security, they're busy flexing their fingers and getting ready to push buttons for nuclear warheads. That unthinkable is rapidly approaching. And you know what? No matter how you skin this or look at it, everybody is literally pulling at their leashes just to be released. Release the dogs of war. That's where we're at. What's holding them back? What's holding it all in position? So many getting ready to just go at each other. You know what? The restrainer. It is the only thing that makes sense to me. The restrainer is restraining. And when the restrainer goes, it's going to be like a slingshot. Those bands are going to snap and everything, in my opinion, is going to go down all at once. Wars across the world, massive earthquakes rumbling as the church departs, chaos, storms, probably a nice few couple of marbles coming from the sky smacking into the earth, all sorts of things going down, all at the same time, on top of planes dropping out of the sky because pilots have been raptured, on top of everything else. It is not going to be a nice surrounding place. It's not somewhere you want to be. You want to be with Jesus. That is the safest place to be. Seek him while he may be found. His arms are open wide. He died for you. He loves you. Come home. God bless. Keep looking up. Shalom.